The primary school, very good example of what it means to work with a community, because in this case, Pahlawan Aziz, the wrestler, came to me and said, we want a primary school. And I said, we don't do primary schools. And he said, you better do a primary school. So I thought about it a little bit, and eventually he said, look, the community will pay for the building, we'll give you the land, we'll provide the furniture if you can just get the teachers and register the primary school. So we agreed to do this, and it's been a very interesting three-way process. Three-way because firstly the community provided the space and the land. Secondly, we as an NGO brought over an American woman, a woman called Shoshana Coburn, who teaches in Roxbury Prep in Boston. She came over and did the teacher training, curriculum development, the textbooks. But finally, and most importantly, the government of Afghanistan registers it as a Ministry of Education primary school. So because it's registered with the government then covers the teachers' salaries, it covers the operating costs, and the project is then sustainable. So this kind of project where the community, a foreign NGO, and the government can come together is exactly what we want to achieve. Most importantly of all, though, is the community demand it. And because of that, within about an hour of opening the doors, we had over 160 children turning up. And most of these girls had never been to school before. And certainly for me, walking around the project day by day, this is the kind of project which actually makes this so satisfying, makes it such a happy project to work on. Ditto clinics. We've got clinics for men and women, which means that we now have the first medical records for that part of the city. This is important because many poor people in this part of the city simply have never had proper medical records before. If they're ill, they go to a pharmacy or they try to get into a hospital, but there's no consistent treatment. We've now documented over 2,000 people. We have full medical records for them. We've begun to inoculate. We can identify epidemics when they arise, and we can massively increase life expectancy, decrease infant mortality, etc. The Institute for Traditional Afghan Arts and Architecture, probably the most successful part of our project so far. And again, working very closely with the Ministry of Education, which has accredited it. It's a project in which we have women and men now doing woodwork, calligraphy, ceramics, and jewelry. And we just did our applications for next year. We're taking 44 students in January. We got 1,120 applications in a week for 44 places. Here, traditional earth architecture. This is a project we're particularly proud of. This is the prototype, not actually the school itself, but this is a project where in the audience today are some students from Sonoma Academy who very kindly raised the money for a girls' school outside Istalif. And it's been a very exciting project because with the money that they raised, we have been able to build a school which has all the qualities that we want in a school building. Firstly, because it's built from earth and not cement, it's cheaper. USAID occasionally is spending $237,000 per school. Right? Our prototype school, with the money raised from the children from Sonoma Academy, the students from Sonoma Academy, costs considerably less than that. I think we've raised something in the region of $15,000 to $20,000. Secondly, it is a much better place to study in. It's warmer in the winter, it's cooler in the summer. Properly built, it's much more resistant to earthquakes. But it also creates much more labor in building the school. It's not dependent on Pakistani cement, which needs to be imported, and it's much more easily maintained. We're hoping with the assistance of the Ministry of Education, we have 2 Ministry of Education engineers working on the project, that we've created a prototype which will lead to 400 more schools being built on this model. I'm going to move very quickly because I'd like to get on to questions, but I'll just flip to the last few slides. We do believe that Afghan art is a world-beating product. This is not charity stuff. We don't believe that Afghanistan should be selling macaroni sprayed gold. That Afghan art is very serious stuff. And we've had a very successful exhibition in Bahrain of Afghan calligraphy. We've just done an exhibition with the Ministry of Culture in Kabul, a contemporary exhibition of contemporary Afghan, Pakistani, and Iranian art, which we're going to try to take to the Venice Biennale. We just did a contemporary art prize in Kabul. Business development, of course, all the incomes to sustain this project involves selling our products The woodwork on the left, made by women in our school, has been sold to the Connaught Hotel in London, has led to the construction of libraries in Japan. And you'll see in the museum shop some examples of jewelry made by the women in our school, about which perhaps more later, because that ties quite nicely into the exhibition of jewelry here. Embroidery, silk weaving, building repair. Here we're putting a restaurant on the top floor, shop on the bottom floor, and a ceramic school across the courtyard. Building documentation, and finally building repair. My father insists on believing that the before shot is on the right and the after shot is on the left. That, I assure you, is not the case. So thank you very much. I would very much like, though, to have an opportunity for questions and discussion, so thank you for your patience.